So the race in Georgia going down right now. Ossoff, Ossoff. I don't know how you want Ossoff. All right, we'll call it Ossoff. It looks like he actually could pull this off. I didn't think he could do it.
It's looking pretty good. I was just checking the map. One of the things that I noticed was that areas where Trump carried the vote by 72%, 62%, Ossoff is winning those currently at around 50, 52. Now, a lot of that could be because of early voters. They're expecting it to kind of go late. And if you look at the trending numbers for the votes as they come in, Ossoff's vote share is going down. Now, if Ossoff gets more than 50%, he wins outright. But if it goes less than 50%, it goes to a runoff.
Okay.
And that runoff will be between him and whoever wins the Republican field.
Yeah.
Now, with the Republican field, it's a large field right now.
Yeah.
So if it goes to a runoff, it's a good possibility Ossoff will not take it.
So, I mean, we'll see. But he seems to be the darling of everybody. Like, out of nowhere. I didn't see this guy. I didn't know who this guy was 2 days ago, right? And maybe because I've been unplugged, but still, I didn't know who this guy was 2 days ago. Now I see him with every celebrity. I mean, I've seen him with rappers. I've seen him with everybody. Like, you know, why is everybody in love with him all of a sudden?
Well, he used to work for John Lewis. He has done a couple of production videos, including something about, I'm not really sure exactly what it was, to be honest with you, but I know that it garnered a lot of attention when he put it out. He also seems to have worked for a couple of think tanks in the past.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he is a centrist darling. And now he's also run a campaign with a very strong anti-corruption rhetoric, which is good.
Yeah.
The problem is that it seems mostly third way that's pushing him.
Yeah.
And so that's where I stand. Like we were talking about this earlier, but I'm kind of on the fence. I see a silver lining in a win, and I also see a silver lining in a loss for progressives. Yeah,
because you're of the opinion that a win for a guy like Ossoff, who seems to be a pretty centrist, third-way Democrat, would send the wrong message to the establishment that everything is fine.
Right, and all you have to do is not be Trump in order to win.
Yeah, well, I mean, because, you know, not to pull this card on you, but like the stuff that Trump is pulling directly affected your life negatively.
Yep.
Right. So if we had a House and a Senate that actually could block him, wouldn't that, well, not necessarily for the EPA, but for other people who are being hurt by him, wouldn't that be better?
It would, but the problem becomes what is better or what is slightly better.
So you have the status quo,
right,
which is not good, not great, but it's not, you know, the Ayn Rand society that that they want to bring, right? That Paul Ryan is sitting waiting like desperately. The Freedom Caucus, who's negotiating with Trump now on health care, you know, the reason they couldn't get the bill because it wasn't draconian enough. I mean, as bad as the status quo centrism is for a lot of people, like, no question, it could get worse.
It could get worse, but that also is ignoring the point that it could get better. I mean, if you look at all of the programs,
does it have to get better? Does it have to get worse before it gets better?
Not necessarily.
Because if you empower Trump any further, it's going to get a lot worse.
Okay, but if you empower the centrists any further, what better
you
are
just
you
get the same status quo.
But not necessarily, because the status quo is entropy. It's going towards negative impact on everybody. So what you're seeing right now, especially when you look at, okay, let's take Governor Cuomo's education plan. I mean, they means tested the hell out of that to affect only a certain portion of the income sphere.
Yeah.
And that was a Bernie proposal. Now, that's what centrists do to good proposals. They means test them into oblivion to the point where they no longer help the people that
I don't disagree. Yeah.
So when you're talking about what is slightly better, there's a large difference between what is good and what is slightly better than Trump. And I'm not willing to say that Ossoff in the long run will be better for my position or for the position of progressives in this country.
That's saying I'm willing to crash a car now because the car is not going to get any better, right? It's slowly but surely going to get worse. It's slowly but surely going to fall apart. But let me just crash that bitch right now.
Because I might have to take the bus for 2 weeks, but then I'll get a Mercedes.
Where you're going to get this Mercedes?
But that's my point, is you're ruling out the Mercedes and saying your only options are slightly...
In 2 weeks, right? You have some 2 weeks. It could be 20 years.
It could be 20 years.
Right.
But that's the point. You should be trying to... in terms of engineering, you should always be striving to make something that
but in engineering, you're not going to destroy what your baseline, right? When somebody builds a new car, since we're going to use cars, they very rarely throw the entire base out.
We were just talking about engineered obsolescence as being a major thing that happens in American industry. So yes, people do that.
Yeah,
and these economic policies
do it, but do they throw it out?
Now.
Do they throw it out just because are they going to creative destruction? Right, you're talking about destroying you're destroying the entire framework in hopes of getting something more. When one, you're not promised to get anything better, and two, you don't really know how long it's going to take to get there. And I know we're doing a big jump off just from Ossoff, right?
Of course,
it's a huge jump off from Ossoff, but it's the general conversation that is still lingering in progressive circles. Do you put somebody in there to back Trump off the ledge, right? Or do you hold out and wait for something better? And my opinion is like, one, if we don't have a framework to get enough people in there to actually change something to be better, then we are essentially just destroying. You're not going to ever get anything better. You're just ensuring that the system is destroyed.
But the problem is the system is ensuring its own destruction, because when we put up in Kansas 04 a progressive candidate, the DCC, the DNC, and multiple other establishment Democrats didn't even touch him, and he came within single digits.
Right.
Now you have Ossoff, who's had the establishment backing from the very beginning. He raised something like $3.5 million before he even entered the race, and has garnered, I think, 8.4 total expenditures. So that's every single centrist.
For a house race. That's ridiculous.
For a house race. But that speaks to a large portion of backing that he wouldn't necessarily have in any other year.
Okay.
So we're being given that false choice of you only have Ossoff, or you have a centrist Democrat, or you have Trump. We just had another choice, but instead of being given that choice and having that choice be actually run, what ended up happening was he was sabotaged from the state party that wouldn't even give him 20 grand to run a
now, I don't disagree with you on any of that. I disagree with you on how you're applying this, right? We're not talking about a situation of a general campaign anymore. We're talking about President Trump, who has demonstrated that in every way you disliked Hillary Clinton and in every way you dislike Barack Obama, he wants to maximize and extend it even further. He doesn't want to just bomb people in the Middle East. He wants to drop the mother of all bombs on people in the Middle East, right? He doesn't want to just deport and be the deporter in chief. He wants to be the deporter in chief squared and build a wall. So everything that you hate about Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, you're getting magnified in Donald Trump. And it's no longer academic. Like, he's here.
Oh, yeah.
He's here. So are you going to sit back and just let him do what he does because you can't get the right Democrat in there?
Absolutely not. But that's also, once again, going to that false choice. You're given a choice.
Who's the other choice in the Georgia race?
There was no other progressive running.
So it's not a false choice. That is your choice.
No, but we also had Kansas 04, which would have done the same thing.
But that's a different race.
No, but it's a House race where we would have had the same situation.
It's in Kansas, and Georgia is on the East Coast.
I understand what you're talking about with location. That doesn't do it.
It's a different race.
I understand it's a different race, but we're talking control of the House in order to check Donald Trump.
Right.
So to control of the House means House representatives winning races, which Kansas 04 was one. But he was too progressive.
Yeah. No, I mean, what you're doing is, and I'm not disagreeing with you on this, you're reciting the fact, or you're setting up the case that the DCCC and the Democratic establishment sucks.
Right. And they're pre-selecting people who agree with them.
Right.
Now, you're saying that those...
I think Zed Janali, or no, not Zed, it was Stoller. Yeah. He was talking about this is just what they do. That's what they're designed to do.
Correct. Now, but what you're saying is that that's the only choice that we possibly have.
No. What I'm saying is, right now in Georgia, do you have a progressive to choose from?
No.
So that's the only choice you have.
In Georgia. Which is why I say silver lining in both instances.
Okay. So we agree there.